It was mother awesome. The Hangover Part 3. Okay, I got a lot to talk about this. Alright, here's the deal. I got hyped for this. I watched the first two Hangover movies today before I went to the theater to go see this. I must have seen all the trailers and TV spots 200 times each. I'm so freaking hyped to see this movie. The theater was packed. It was packed. You could not get a seat for this. So the movie begins, and my expectations are very high. And they just kept rising and rising as the film went on. It was so badass. And here's the deal. I think people are either going to have two reactions to this. A, they really liked it as much as they liked the first film. I don't know if a lot of people really like the second film. Or B, they'll go, it was better than 2, but the first one's still the best. That's what I think everybody's reaction, most of the people's reaction will be. Because my sister enjoyed it. She said it was okay. She enjoyed it. Okay. I'm not going to do spoiler alert. I'm not going to tell you at all what's in this movie. But again, how can I talk about a film when there's a lot going on here? Alright, so without giving too much away, because I really, really want you guys to go see this movie. Okay, this is the final Hangover movie. And for those of you who say, oh, that's a lie. They're going to make part 4 in, what, a couple of years or so? I don't think they will. Because the way the movie ends, it pretty much seals the deal. I mean, it says on the poster, the epic finale to The Hangover, it all ends. I mean, like, the tagline for the movie is, it all ends, or the end. I mean, it's over. Heck, the freaking teaser poster was a parody of the final Harry Potter movie. I mean, come on. Alright, so let me tell you what happens in this. A lot of you are probably thinking, based on the trailer, what's going on? It's called The Hangover. There's no hangover. You might want to hold on to that thought. But that's all I'm going to say. Okay, in this one, Phil, Stu, Alan, and I have to include Doug, because, of course, Doug just can't seem to get 5 minutes of screen time after the first film. I don't know why, but we all knew this was coming based on the trailers. Turns out that John Goodman, this guy, Marshall is his name, he wants to find Mr. Chow because he stole a lot of money from him, and he needs the Wolfpack to get him back, because he thinks that they got the best chance. You know, the trailer explains all that. But anyway, so it's pretty much a cat and mouse movie. The guy's trying to find Mr. Chow, Mr. Chow trying to get away from them. He understands what they want and why they're after him. They go back to Vegas. Oh my gosh, that was so. It took me right back to the first movie. There are a lot of good jokes in this. There were a lot of good ones. I mean, like, a lot of people said that it was running on fumes when Part 2 came out. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think there's not a lot of really funny jokes, like, since the first movie, but honestly, there are some really good laughs here. There's a lot of stuff going on with... see, here's the thing. Here's the difference with this movie. Not because of... Because I know what the plot of this movie is. They've said there's no bachelor party, there's no wedding, but when all bets are off, what's the worst that could happen when they go on a road trip? All bets are off. Here's the thing. This movie is in no comparison with the other two, in some way, because it deals with a lot more of Alan's emotions with his life. And I thought that was a little bit of a risk to take, especially after Part 2. So, when this one came out, I was actually wondering, can they pull this off? Can they still make it fresh and funny? Because they're not doing the formula that they did in the first two, so what's this movie gonna be? And as it was unfolding, it really was a pretty good story. Because a story unravels. It's not a situation. I mean, it is a situation, but it is a story. It was unraveling. I didn't know where it was going to go. I had some idea where it was going to go, but there were a lot of surprises in this. A lot. Particularly at the end of the movie. The very end of the movie. Which I think got the biggest laugh in the audience. But, oh my God, this was so freaking cool. I mean, like I've said before, I would pay to see 8 of these things. I just love these characters so much. And I was shocked that they could still pull this off without doing the formula and make it still make it funny. But I had my doubts because I checked that on Rotten Tomatoes. It got 37% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Part 2 got 35%. The first Hangover got 79%. So you're saying that it's not as good as the first one, but it's better than Part 2, obviously. I pretty much presumed that it would be. But as you all know, I like Part 2. I already said that I do enjoy the first 2 Hangover movies, and I like this one. I will so be going back to the theaters to see this again. I had a good time. I laughed my ass off to this. My sister was laughing the whole time, and when we got home and my dad said, "How was it?" Because he's not a really big Hangover fan. He saw the first one, he didn't like it. Okay, his opinion. My sister said, it wasn't that good, it wasn't that good. Bullshit, she was laughing the whole time. She was laughing, okay? Don't try to hide it. You were laughing, you liked it, okay? You don't laugh and say, the movie sucked. That does not happen. If you're not laughing and you say the movie sucks, then that makes more sense. I'm not trying to change your opinion or anything. I was just a little bit put off by that. But aside from that, now I'm not treating it like this is the greatest movie of the year. I'm not. It was a good finale for The Hangover. I enjoyed it. And I am going to go see this again. My mom has yet to see this movie, and she wants to go see it. So I will be there. This movie, it's hard to talk about this because I don't want to ruin it for you guys. Now, here's the deal. I recommend this movie, not because I am a fan of the Hangover trilogy and I love these characters and I love seeing them getting into these shenanigans and stuff, but here's why I think it's worth the price of admission. Because you're probably saying, oh, I'm gonna pay $10, $10 to $11 to see the Hangover sequel. I mean, the second one sucked. I mean, that's what the majority of people say. Here's why I think you should go see it. It's a good story, and without doing the whole formula that they've been doing, they do it a little bit here, but not as you would think. It had me laughing. I was laughing at it, and it had a lot more emotional moments to it, which I thought was a big risk for the Hangover movies to take. Okay, I'm just repeating myself, but I thought that was a big risk, and they took it anyway. And you got to give them credit for doing that because, in a way, I mean, there are comedic elements within the emotions, the emotional parts, but it still pays off in some way because you love these characters, or at least I do. I know a lot of people do. That's why people love these movies so much, because we just love these characters. And I think the reason why you should pay the $11 or however much your theater charges you for it, my great uncle once told me that when he was a kid it cost a nickel to go to the movies. A nickel! Man, was he lucky. But anyway, $11 or whatever, it's worth it because you're going to get a lot of good laughs out of this movie. It's really funny. It doesn't repeat what they've done. I thought it was a good sequel. I thought it was good. I don't want to say that the Hangover movies kept getting better and better as the sequels went on. A lot of people might say the first one was really unique. It had a good premise. The rest were unnecessary. They have funny moments in there, but they're just unnecessary. Like we didn't need a Hangover Part 2 and Part 3. We didn't need it. The Hangover was good. We should have left it at that. A lot of people say that. I like the sequels because they had a lot of funny moments, and I love seeing these characters over again. I mean, I wish they would do more of them. But anyway, The Hangover Part 3, in my opinion, was definitely worth the money I paid to see this. And I loved it so much. I was actually upset when the credits started rolling. Like, oh, this is the end, this is the end. But you guys, here's the thing. If you like Part 1, you didn't like Part 2, you might like part 3. I will say that. Here's what you'll probably say. If you like part 2 like I do, you're probably going to have the feeling like part 3 was just as good. It was good. It had me laughing, it had a lot of good moments, and it was funny. You're not going to think this is funnier than part 1. I don't think you will, but it was good. Now, if you don't like part 2, like a lot of other people do, unlike me, you're probably going to say to yourself, it was better than part 2, but not as good as part 1. So, at least it kind of pulled off what it was trying to do. Because remember I said in the Hangover Trilogy review, what the trailer looks like, this is what part 2 should have been, instead of the whole repeat thing. But again, part 3, it does tie in with part 1 and part 2. And it actually makes you look at the first 2 movies in a whole different light, believe it or not. I don't want to say how, I don't want to ruin it for you. But it really does. And I was shocked by that, okay, because I had just seen these movies today. So I hope you guys see it. I hope this was helpful. So, yeah. Toodaloo, motherfucker!